Hey, it's your buddy Peace and Harmony with you here today. We are focusing in on one of the key aspects of the covert narcissist and their very subtle, sly, vaguely perceptible manipulation and power tactics, and that is built into their personality disorder of being covert, and that is being evasive. Being evasive is one who is essentially fleeting, someone who just uses a very avoidant tendency. They avoid being present, they avoid dealing with things. They are very prone to not deal with confrontation very well. They tend to assign this to somebody else, push off these responsibilities onto others in their environment. And this is a very subtle way for the covert narcissist to avoid commitment, avoid accountability, avoid responsibility, but furthermore, manipulate others or control others in a very underhanded manner so that they are then dealing with all the burden, the accountability, the responsibility moving forward, and they get to basically walk away and just pursue their own selfish desires, retreat into their own tactics of withdrawal, and realize that it is also a characteristic of a pathological liar or a covert narcissist to lie by withdrawal of information or withholding of information. So it's in their lack of ability to disclose information that they lie. So it's not necessarily that they're lying outright. It is in their withholding of very important and pertinent information that they control and, in essence, lie or are not embrace the truth or not communicate the truth, live in the truth through covert ways. And to be evasive basically means they have a tendency to avoid commitment or self-revelation, especially by responding only indirectly. So if you feel like this person is not present, that they're very indirect, they don't have a tendency to speak face to face, eye contact, being able to listen and acknowledge what you're saying and then process it with you in the present. In other words, eye to eye, being in front of you, instead of just, very retreative or very retiring in nature. That is a very classic narcissistic quality, one of being evasive. And in essence, this is their ultimate escape. They're able to escape and retreat into their world of being self-centered, being exclusively only associating with people who they feel that they should give the time and attention to. So even though a humble person, someone who is present, would acknowledge or validate and really process things where needed, the covert narcissist will tend to be evasive. They will use avoidance tactics. It's not necessarily that they're procrastinating, because a procrastination is a tactic where essentially it's a defense mechanism where someone is planning on dealing with it later. These individuals just do not want to deal with things that they feel that they shouldn't have to deal with. So it's the old, that's not my job, that's not my responsibility, I'm above that sort of mentality, which we see in the covert narcissist. So they have assigned this, I'm above that superior haughty attitude, but in a very covert, unspoken manner. And so you have to watch for this evasiveness. That's one of the qualities of a covert narcissist. So really, I guess the question is, how to deal with this. How do you deal with someone who feels that they're so above accountability, above responsibility? Why do they just tend to vanish? Why do they tend to retreat to, their garage, their basement? Perhaps they might use substance abuse. They might shut others out through eating compulsively. Or, this is really a compulsive lying where they are compulsively and pathologically not dealing with things. And as you know, you have to be on the same page. If you have a covert narcissist in your family, they're going to need to step up. They're going to need to step to the plate. They're going to need to be accountable through communication, through their behaviors, through their deeds. So these are people who are very resistant to change, as they feel, they just basically, say, I'm just not going to deal with it. So it's their indecisiveness or not dealing with things that is the decision that they have made. So it's a very conscious decision that they feel that they are just not going to deal with this. They're just only going to take care of themselves. And this becomes very damaging when this is your spouse, when this is your parent, when this is your coworker or your boss, because they're basically leaving you to fend with yourself, handle things single-handedly, oftentimes that are beyond the responsibility of one person. So it can become exasperating and exhausting to, be in interdependent relationships with these people, because they're not really holding up their end of the bargain. They're not carrying their weight of responsibility, and you oftentimes have to work double and triple time to try to get information from them or have them do what is required. That would just be normal common sense. You have to convince them why it's important for them to take responsibility, accountability, and speak up. So more so, understanding this to be the case, understanding its impact on you, and the added stress, realize that oftentimes this can create a tremendous burden that you carry. So it's important to realize this. If you become over-obligated, you've had to take on more than your fair share, or you've been left feeling resourceless, empty, because this person has not been there for you in the ways that they should, realize that then that this is their, tendency to just basically, vanish. They have this vanishing tendency to just not be present, just to be very withdrawn. And it's not just they're going into, they're not just withdrawing as a shyness, but it's more of a self-retreat, because they're inadvertently communicating to you that you're not worth communicating with, or you're just this is something you're going to have to figure out for yourself. So it's very sort of sly and cruel in essence. So that, I think, is what is so hurtful over time, is that it's a very sort of subtle cruelty, a subtle lack of showing respect. And so you then end up really sort of, others who maintain relationships with them have to then carry all the respect in the relationship. They have to be responsible for showing them undue amounts of respect, undue amounts of admiration, undue amounts of communication as a supply to keep the relationship going. It's like you have to be the eternal flame in the relationship, where they're just really not showing accountability or giving a tremendous amount of imbalance in the relationship. So, I guess the main question is, how do we really deal with a covert narcissist? Well, one is awareness, realizing that they're not going to change, and to furthermore, don't overburden yourself with them. Realize that it is okay to let go. It is undue stress on yourself, and oftentimes it leads to a lot of health complications when you have to take on more than your fair share. So get into some me time. Realize that you have probably spent an inordinate amount of time focusing on the needs of this individual, giving them attention, trying to figure out their needs, working overtime so hard to figure out how you can be supportive of them, how you can be encouraging, how you can resolve things in their life, how you can make their life better. You've probably hollowed out yourself and stepped aside from your own destiny, your own happiness, to fulfill their needs. So if you've gotten to the end of your rope, if you've done this long enough, realize it's time to let them go and let the covert narcissist be the big boy or big girl that they need to be in your life. And if they come around, looking for someone to complain to, someone to be extremely needy, and furthermore, dish out their subtle forms of disappointment, realize that they get you kind of addicted to this relationship. So cease that feeling like an underling or feeling less than, and then feeling like you always have to put this person forward. It's important to put yourself first. You are number one, so important. It isn't, you have to be accountable to yourself after all this sort of subtle abuse with a covert narcissist, because it is you that needs to care for yourself at the end of the day now. There is really a lack of interdependence oftentimes with a covert narcissist. So take accountability for yourself. Make sure that you take care of yourself. Set aside time for me time. Work on your recovery journal. Focus on the things that are truly fulfilling and energizing for you, and stop over obligating to the covert narcissist in your life, and pull back the boundaries. Furthermore, define what those are. Practice saying no and not feeling guilty, not feeling fearful, and not over obligating yourself. Get real clear on that, and then focus and schedule much more time that is specifically for discovering yourself, getting clear with what you truly want and how you want to be treated. And if you can get a vision of that and really spend some time understanding that, even if it's a quiet sort of meditative stance, and focusing, just getting centered and articulating, writing out in your recovery journal how you would truly, in a real world, how you would like to be responded to, respected, treated with acknowledgement, and have a more balanced relationship. Get very clear about that and articulate that in your recovery journal. And as you do that, you'll come to terms with what you want and realistically be able to draw that into your life, so you can make that a reality and not just a fantasy. Peace and harmony with you here today. I hope these videos do help. Please share and please subscribe for more great tools, videos, discussion, and support.